Hello, this is Lisa for holding the space, and I'm with Ian Moir, artist and creator of Fire Station Creative. How are you, Ian?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. And we're sitting in your beautiful studio, surrounded by your art and inspiration and shapes and colours, and it's a bit of an amazing place.
Well, I did tidy it for you.
Yeah.
It's I actually need to bring it into better order than this before I start my next big painting.
Your next project.
Because I really can't work in a mess. Some artists really prefer that, but not me. I'm a very orderly person, and you could probably tell that by, well, when you look at my paintings, they're very neat, you know,
and organised.
Yeah.
That's how you create. That's how you create. Now, tell us about Ian.
Sure. Well, I'm a professional artist. I'm also the managing director and curator of Fire Station Creative, which is a contemporary art centre, which is where we are right now. My studio is on the first floor in the building.
It's a very special place.
Aye, well, I think so, and the public seem to appreciate it. You know, it's as the name suggests, it's an old fire station which my friends and I converted into an art centre back in 2015. So you know, we have a cafe and a really smart gallery on the ground floor, and on the first floor we have a classroom, which used to be the fireman's recreation room, and all the bedrooms and offices which were used by the fire service, we converted them into artist studios. So we have about 30 artists working out of 21 studios.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a very busy place then.
Yeah, we have a full tenancy, and in the gallery we're fully booked for 2020.
Wow.
And yeah, we've had about 60 exhibitions since we opened in 2015.
And that just came. How did that come about, Ian, if you don't mind me asking? Did that come from a conversation, or just wandering past the building and it's up for sale, or?
Well, I'll try to give you a truncated version. I was involved with the arts community, and we tried to put on a lot of little projects. We published a book of short stories and poems. You know, for any writer who has a connection with Fife, and that was a first. That had never been done before, and we had an exhibition at the local park gates. We did that every month in the summer. But what we realised was that we needed a proper venue, because over a few years we proved that there was a thriving arts community in West Fife, but there was no place for the artists to share their work. So I applied for a grant and commissioned a feasibility study, and it was part of the research of the feasibility process that the fire station was identified as a really suitable building, and it turned out that the fire service were just about to vacate anyway. And
great timing.
Yeah, so the local authority, Fife Council, wanted to sell the building, so I led this campaign to through the local media to save the building, and eventually, you know, everybody got on board, and you know, it was made possible by some politicians and Fife Council, their support, and the community were always behind the project.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it took a few years, but you know, Fife Council in the end, having opposed the project, actually gave us 170,000 to convert the building into an art centre.
And here we are today.
Here we are.
Now, on to yourself. As a professional artist, why painting?
Well, I've got an older sister. She's exceptionally bright, very academically accomplished, and I realised quite early on in life that I couldn't compete with her, but I discovered that I was good at drawing and painting, you know, from an early age. So, you know, that was something that I could focus on, and you know, and I think when you're a kid, you want to, you know, you create a picture, you want to show it to your mum and dad, so you're looking for approval and to please your parents, and that was something that they encouraged. So I think you just follow your instincts. I was never particularly musical, I don't think, and you know, I'm reasonably literate, but I didn't feel at any point that I was talented enough to become a writer. But certainly I got good feedback about my drawings and paintings in school. So
have you got a particular memory of holding a paintbrush when you were younger?
No, well, I suppose just in the primary school would be my earliest memories of that. I certainly wasn't painting in the house. You know, I'm an oil painter, but I didn't really get into that until I was about 16 or 17.
Right,
you know, because you know, in the comprehensive schools, they can't really afford to give you oil paints.
No, it's all acrylics, isn't it?
It was actually powder paints and things like that. So that's a really not a great quality of paint. So the natural transition is gouache paint, which is actually high quality poster paint. It's what some designers would use. So I started off with gouache paint, and then I realised that I felt a bit limited by that. So I tried oil, but oil is actually the most versatile type of paint that you can use. But a lot of people who are, say, amateur in inverted commas, you know, they shy away from it because they think, oh, there's a lot of different materials, and you know, there's white spirit you have to clean up. You can't just use water. You know?
Yeah.
So, but once you make the transition and you learn how to use it, it's definitely the best, the best, the most versatile paint to use.
Was there any other creativity that was pulling you? Was it definitely tunnel vision towards art?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember having any particular. I became very interested in cinema when I was a teenager, and I actually got into making short films.
Did you?
So I did make some short films on Super 8 film. Like for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's 8mm cine film, which has a very dreamlike quality, and that's what attracted me to it. And it was out of date even when I started using it, you know, 20 years ago.
Something quite nostalgic and special about it, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was using it to I mean, I'm a very vivid dreamer. I have very, very lucid and lurid dreams. And I can remember dreams that I had, you know, from early childhood quite clearly. And that struck me as a good medium. Super 8 film. It's a way of conveying some of my sort of dreamlike fantasies. So I made some films when I was at art college, and I went to Glasgow School of Art, and when I graduated, I didn't get my degree for painting. Oddly enough, my tutors allowed me to make films instead of. So, but the films that I made were quite. They were quite. There was a lot of strong imagery, religious and sexual, and they're very strange, and they upset quite a few people. So I just had so much strife associated with these films that I thought, I'm just going to put that down for a while and go back to painting. But I could see me getting back into filmmaking again at some point in the future. But
and there's so many, because of the available technologies nowadays, you could probably download an app and be able to do it, albeit it wouldn't have that feeling of that camera.
Yeah, I mean, I think every medium has its own aesthetic, and it's a bit of a hassle actually using Super 8 film, and there is digital technology that mimics it, but it doesn't actually capture it in the way that the real film does.
Yeah.
So if I were to get back into making films, I'd probably use some kind of video, but I don't know. I don't have any firm plans to do that. So.
I think it's like when you're, I can certainly say as a writer, there's various apps that you can use to record your writing, but there's nothing like a notebook.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Yep. So, when you're being creative, is there any particular thoughts and themes that you're trying to communicate?
Well, it happens in 2 or 3 ways for me. Sometimes when I'm lying in my bed, I'll just get a vision, and I think I must paint that. And it's behind that vision there is a strong emotional force. It's almost like a spiritual force. It's like there's something behind the vision driving you to make it, and you feel like I won't rest until I see this manifest in an artistic medium. So and that's one way. Another way is that you have a sort of general idea about the type of picture that you want to make, and then you experiment and just with sketches and or you just stare at the canvas and something jumps out at you. But most of the time, I would say it starts with this strong vision that I think I must express that, and sometimes it's not in your best financial interest to express this idea. It's sometimes you think, oh, this could offend people, or people are not going to like looking at this, because people generally want pretty things. They don't want fierce, challenging imagery, especially if they're going to buy it. So, but I do my best to force out any kind of economic concerns from the creative process. That's not the right place for.
So if I said that you were striving to stay quite faithful to the vision that you've got in your head without anything distracting you.
Well, that's what being an artist is all about. You can see a lot. I would say most artists that you see in the marketplace, they're baking cakes. They've discovered a mould, that sells, and they just replicate it, and they discover it early on in their career, and the gallery says, oh, this is selling well, do more of them. So that's what they do. And they haven't evolved 20 or 30 years later, and it's really boring. That's they're called artists to get that label, and they might be quite good at it. They might be quite good draftsmen or whatever, but they're not really creating anything new. They're not innovating. They're not using their imagination. They're discovered a cookie cutter, and they're putting it to full commercial use. So I have a day job as the managing director of the fire station. So there isn't that financial pressure on me to constantly make a profit from my painting. So that does allow me to explore my imagination and convey what is in my heart.
So you can have fun with it then.
I wouldn't ever call it fun. It's not a fun art.
No?
Not for me. It's not. No, I wouldn't say I necessarily enjoy it. I always think of, this might sound a bit OTT, but I think of an artistic vision or an artistic vocation as a bit of an affliction. It's you're stuck with it, and people expect you to use it.
There's sometimes, I think, when you say the word artist, writer, there is this association and impression about the title.
Yeah.
And people's preconceptions.
Yes. Aye. Well, I to be a bit more positive, I like to think of it as a religious pursuit. Often more ignorant people will ask you, if you're chatting to them in the pub or something, they'll say, oh, you're an artist, how much do you sell your work for? How much money do you make? They're very focused on that. And no artist would ever ask a fellow artist.
That's rude.
A question, yeah. It's vulgar, it's not appropriate. It's not. If you understand anything about art, it's not. Money is not why you do it. There are far easier ways to make money. So.
Probably been asked, if you're a writer, how many books you've sold.
Aye, yeah. It's just it's not a nice. It's not relevant. But also, I mean, I think you wouldn't ask a monk, how much money is he making from this? It's just it's something you're compelled to do, and you try to survive doing it.
So if I said your work for you was